terrible people.
Save the wreck for Scream.
Well, I say every day it's a getting closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster.
We're not qualified.
Explorers in the further regions of experience.
If you do not listen to me,
Then the hell with you.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the 203rd episode of Screaming Into the Void, the show where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like, and we're on our continued journey to make Sasquatch hate me forever. My name is Samuel Infamous, and joining me today we have Caucasian Sasquatch.
Hi, I'm Sasquatch.
We also have joining us at the top of the show for the first time in a minute. Devil made me do it.
Hello.
Super enthused.
So how's that new anxiety medication doing you?
Not well.
It's fine.
Hoping he can muster at least a little bit of excitement. We also have a Shadow of Hawk.
After the conversation I overheard behind the scenes, I would like to go back to the tree line, please.
Be gone, thy vile being.
Indeed. All right, folks, welcome in, everybody. I think I mentioned this last week as well, but the reason that we don't have Gals Give Send Go link, I know some of you guys are probably getting used to seeing that, is because it was fulfilled. So we're no longer seeking to do the things. And she's appreciative. Her brother's appreciative. Thank you guys who shared it out, who donated, all that stuff. For everything else, man, it's just we're gonna get back to basics, saying hello to the chat and getting on with the fucking show. Welcome in. First up, we got underscore complaining about me changing the time, and we were still late. We still managed to miss that part. But to be fair, that second time wasn't my fault exactly. Sasquatch was telling a very involved story. So,
Well, y'all know how it is when I start telling a story. Almost nobody can change the channel.
right? One of these days, I'm just going to cut you off mid-story and start the show. We got Old Blighty in the chat. Howdy, good to see you, man. Let's see. Li Fang? Am I pronouncing that right? Li Fang? Welcome in. We've also got
JC News now. What's up, bud? Yeehaw.
Yeah. Howdy.
And of course, the notorious Mr. Beak. Are you infamous or famous, sir? Anyway, I've heard tell that if he comes to your chat, you've made it. You're a YouTuber. Yeah. Congratulations.
That's the thing. If Beak's in your chat, you're official. So, which is pretty amazing on account of he started coming to my chat before anybody knew who the fuck I was. So it's what it is.
I wonder how that might have happened.
I am adjacent to other people who are more popular. So it is.
Me too.
Right? That's like my whole thing. Welcome in, everybody. If you are watching us on Twix, YouTube, or Rumble, drop a comment. Let us know you're here. We'll do our level best to acknowledge your presence. We're also on two separate YouTube channels, Samuel the Infamous and Caucasian Sasquatch. So you might see some chats up on the screen that are not originating where you are. I don't know why I said that. It's not like you guys.
If that happens, go to mine and like it, subscribe, send me some money. All the things.
Fair enough. All right, so I'm going to be perfectly honest, and I said this last night. I wasn't really paying too much attention to the news or what was going on in the world the last week or so. I had some other shit going on IRL. I discussed it last night on Abyssal Musings. I'm not going to get into it again, but so I didn't really have much of a show, and then I realized I had stuff set aside that I just found kind of interesting. So I figured we'll make that the show. Otherwise, we're just going to have to wing it, which is fine because we can. But now we've got some stuff to make Sasquatch cringe while we wing it. Starting with,
I just want to be perfectly clear. I have done nothing except go through, click the link, copy it, pause it, click the link, copy it, pause it, and I hate everything I've seen so far.
welcome in our party.
I haven't read anything. I haven't digested anything. I haven't reacted to it except for to go, lol.
Right. But he's producer now, so he's got to see all this shit before all of you do. And it's
It's one of those decisions that I might one day regret. I haven't gotten there yet, but perhaps it's on my list of things to do is to regret this.
I mean, people that you produce for, right? I'm sure that there's cringeworthy shit on all of their channels that you get.
Don't test me like that, bro.
It's not just me. It's not just me,
bro. You realize I am like adjacent to the whole Andrew Candice thing.
Yeah.
I'm downstream as in this sewer with all the other shit.
Speaking of cringeworthy wastes of time. So, but if there's one thing that we do here on the interwebs is waste time effectively and hopefully with some amount of entertainment.
Would you like it brought up, or are you gonna poke the things?
I can poke the thing. It's fine. So
all right, poke the things.
The image you're seeing on the screen is obviously a female reproductive system. Apparently, scientists have a new drug that can change the way menopause works.
All right, let me take a swing at this. From Shining Science, women may soon choose when menopause happens or if it happens at all. A drug called rapamycin slowed ovarian aging by 20% in human trials. It preserves eggs, extends fertility, and prevents health risks like osteoporosis. The biological clock just got an off switch. Source, Columbia University, The Lancet Healthy Longevity.
So I have to say, when I read that drug name in my head, I read it like, Mario. Rapamycin. Which made it so much funnier to me.
I guess Latin wasn't strong with this one. Maybe like you insisted. You see, this is why I don't like The Godfather.
Do tell.
It insists on itself.
It's true. But yeah, no. This seems like more of that. Just because we can, should we? Kind of
so
thing.
I want you to imagine a future in which an 85-year-old woman has a newborn baby, and this isn't unusual.
Yeah.
That don't grok.
Like even if you go back to say the story of Abraham and Sarai, right, in the Bible, right? Because his wife was fucking barren as shit. That's why he went and had Ishmael with that servant girl, right? Because his wife could not produce children, and part of the reason she couldn't produce children was because she was 85.
Clue.
And then the whole miracle happened and Isaac happened and all that stuff. But but yeah, imagine if this is just something we can turn on and off. Hi, Clue. Good to see it.
So on and off is what you said, right? So I don't think they would use it to extend fertility years. I think they would use it to reduce fertility years. So
I tend to
female
agree.
birth control of the epic degree. This is no failure, zero chance.
Sure. The problem is it like with any birth control, right? Well, aside from the eugenics part, that's a pretty big problem. But the main problem with a drug like this is that when you fuck with how the hormones and the natural processes work inside the female body, it fucks with every part of her, right? Because it's all connected. Like for example, and I'm gonna bring up an example that's not great off the top of my head, but abortion. When you abort a baby, right, your body's already started going through the process of producing everything it needs to create a human being, right? All of that stuff comes to a sudden halt, and there's nowhere for all those hormones and all those chemical processes to go. It just kind of gets shunted back into the system, which the system can't handle because it's not designed to do that. It fucks your body up.
Yup.
Right.
So I was talking to somebody the other night, and one of the things they said that really disturbed me is they wanted to give vasectomies like circumcisions. Like every little boy gets a vasectomy, and then later when they're an adult, she was like, they can decide who gets to reproduce and who doesn't, and go do the surgery or choose to reproduce for a period of time. And can you guess what political affiliation this individual was?
I don't want
Socialist.
it. Yeah.
Yes, can confirm.
This is going to go badly. You're going to end up with a lot of women who have debilitating fucking, diseases and negative effects going on in their bodies and all that stuff, which is going to make them unsuitable for the gene pool anyway. Which may be the point.
Not to mention all the fucking mental problems that'll come with it.
Well, the worst part is the people that are going to be deciding who reproduces are exactly the people you don't want deciding who reproduces.
What's up, John Denicola? Welcome in. There's that too. But I mean, I'm just thinking on like a personal level, like what this is going to do to women I know, women that you know, right? Should they choose to take this thing? Should it be a voluntary thing?
All right. So there's risks involved in every form of birth control out there to some extent or another. One of the risks with the conventional hormone-based birth control is there is a psychological effect that takes place with these hormones where a female becomes more important with a brotherly, supportive individual over a domineering masculine individual, if you get what I'm saying. And there have been, I know of a couple of relationships that have been shattered by two things. One, they got married while she was on whatever type of hormonal-based contraceptive, and she ended this contraceptive specifically to get pregnant because she got married. And then the next thing you know, get this, she couldn't tolerate what he smelled like.
Mm-hmm.
Lost her mind and just left. Just come home one day from like going to get water at the freaking store, walked in, went, oh, that's fucking disgusting. Get me out of here. And went home to her mama. They got a divorce, the whole 9 yards.
It's almost like poisoning our brains for the purposes of pursuing what we think is a good thing because it's new and hip and modern. Probably leads to bad outcomes. Just a hunch.
Well, I mean, it's playing God. It's the same shit we talk about on here all the time. This is just a different form of the same thing. This is playing God. This is an attempt to, as Malcolm Reynolds stated, make people better.
Welcome in, young God. Good to see you, bud.
And I don't hold to that.
Fucking transhumanism bullshit.
That was the Serenity bit, right? Make people better.
Yeah.
And that's no brainer.
Found out about the Paxilon and the formation.
Yeah.
Miranda.
Have they figured out
and the part of that whole thing that like really bothers me is it's a lot of the shit that these people want can be achieved with just a little bit of self-control, right? Like, oh well, I don't want to worry about having kids before I'm ready. Okay, don't have sex. Or if you want to have sex, take the necessary precautions that involve you, like being responsible for yourself. No, but I don't want to have any sort. I just want to be able to wantonly do it. I just want to be able to take a magic pill that solves all my issues. Those don't exist. There's no secret sauce. And yet we keep trying to create a secret sauce, and all that does is just create more harm, and we find out about that harm 30 years down the line after a whole generation has been fucked up.
I just wonder when they're going to come out with the pill that's going to help women understand it's not okay to kill your kids. Maybe
we'll
that
get
one.
to that. We'll get to that. We're not there yet, but we'll get to that.
You don't hate Sam enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a nightmare. You want to do the next one before I start, or can you remember which one it is?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. We swap over to this is something that actually we brought up on the channel like 2-3 years ago when they were first talking about this. I'm kind of torn on it myself. I got shit teeth. I could do with growing some new ones, right? There's
You don't remember teething, do you?
I remember wisdom teething very clearly.
Imagine that
when I was 17, all 4 at once.
Yeah, no, I cracked mine. I went in to get one of my wisdom teeth removed surgically, and when I opened my mouth, the top of one of my other wisdom teeth broke off, and they had to pull both of them out, but they had already doped me up for the top, and so the bottom went raw dog.
Yeah, because there's limits on how many times they can inject you.
Yep, and I was at that limit, and I just looked at him and I was like, "Take it."
Right.
He's like, "This is not going to be fun," and I just said, "Take it," and I opened my mouth, and he almost dislocated my jaw trying to do it quickly.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty rough. It's a pretty rough process. But anyway, apparently they've discovered rather,
Ew.
a way to, I guess there's a protein called USAG1, which is the protein that stops extra teeth from forming, right?
You want me to read it?
If you'd like.
It's not that long. This is from Next Science. What if your next tooth could grow back? Scientists are now testing a drug designed to make this possible. The treatment blocks a protein called USAG1, which normally helps stop extra teeth from forming. Researchers hope that blocking it could awaken dormant tooth-forming cells and encourage the body to grow a natural new tooth. The treatment has entered human clinical trials, but is still very early. Scientists don't yet know whether it will work safely and effectively on a large scale. Still, the idea is astonishing, and the future of dentistry may not be about replacing teeth, but helping your body grow them back. Now, okay, so here's the thing. There are conditions in the human species where, and I can't remember the name of the condition, but it's something Dantia, where you have a whole bunch of extra teeth buds in your mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in my 20s, I lived with my cousin, and his wife at the time had like a triple case of that shit. She come in with a fucking x-ray of her head, and it was nightmare inducing. There were so many teeth inside her freaking skull. It was unbelievable. And so this type of thing is totally possible in the human condition. But when teeth grow in as an adult, typically they grow in cattywampus and crooked.
Mm-hmm. No, they do. And also they don't always grow in the mouth. On occasion, you'll find somebody out there who has developed a tooth or tooth-like structure in an armpit. There's a condition that is extremely rare, but is very real, called vagina dentata. They made a movie called Teeth about it years ago. That's horrifying. I wouldn't recommend watching it if you're a dude.
that shit's real.
Yes, it's a real condition. It's extremely rare. And it's not like a full mouth full of fucking teeth in the vagina or anything. It's just like usually just one or maybe two kind of thing, but it does exist. Yeah. And I think Young God's probably right when he says, let's invent tooth cancer, because that might in fact be what this opens the door to. Is like, you might end up with aberrant, like tooth cells just start sprouting up in weird fucking places. Probably a bunch in your mouth too, but you know, how would you like one growing out of your eyelid? You know, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that it's not impossible.
Yeah, but before they started having people just grow teeth out of all different places in their body, they're gonna find ways to try to, you know, target it and stuff like that.
I think it's going to be interesting to find out, because I think that this protein that they're targeting with this is exactly what prevents that kind of thing.
Like, I don't know. I just don't think they're gonna be like, yeah, here, we'll just start growing teeth everywhere, and hopefully one comes in the right place. Cross our fingers. I think before this would ever make it to like actual clinical studies, they would have to like actually find a way to, like I said,
let's look at this from a surgical perspective, because this isn't entirely going to be, I don't see where, even if you could do a targeted triggering of a tooth bud, as it were, and most people have at least one or two still in their upper jaw that haven't erupted because they got turned off, but almost none of them are in the right place. And so they would have to go in, surgically remove the little pre-buttal cell and place it in the right place. Now, what makes it one type of tooth and not another type of tooth, and can they tell at that scale?
I'm a scientist. I just like the idea that you would be able to grow your own tooth back instead of, you know, having to have them go through all the trouble of drilling into your jaw and putting a fake tooth in and shit. It just, optimal would be you just growing your own thing, you know, like same thing with any organ. If you're going to get something transplanted, I'd rather have something that's from me, or, you know, is a part of my cells, than somebody else's heart or,
are you sick?
Or whatever.
I'm sick. Are you sick? You sound sick.
No, at least not that I know of.
Okay. I'm all snotty as all get out, and I feel like I'm drowning.
Young God makes another good point. Just a science reminder, all cells have all DNA for all body parts. Some DNA is off and on, and this is what differentiates your cells. What happens if you turn off USAG1 in your testicles?
Yep.
It's toothy balls. Toothy balls. Hey,
you get to bite back when she goes down on you.
I told you, no teeth, bitch. Oh man,
fucking dick looks like a freaking elephant.
Oh man, we're gonna have orcs. I have this buddy of mine, this tinfoil hat meth smoking buddy of mine, who believes that all of the fantasy books that you read are actually stories from the future, where human genetics have been completely understood, and we've colonized all of space and time and all that shit. He does a lot of mushrooms.
Fair enough. Yeah. I should also, I didn't notice that you put the runner down there at the bottom. For those of you who are looking at that, only the Caucasian Sasquatch Cash App is a valid one. The other one doesn't exist anymore. So I haven't changed that.
Man, I thought I got you.
Yeah, don't send money to that, because it's a road to nowhere. So.
Just free cash.
The Fed's caught on. The Fed's caught on,
right.
Sam.
All right. Remember the next one? I don't want to show the next one, Sam.
Yeah, you do.
No, you want me to. I really don't, dude. That shit creeps me the fuck out. But all right, everybody prepare yourselves. Here we go.
It's Boba.
Is this AI or?
Yeah. It's either
it's
AI or there's some optical illusion with the cup itself. I don't think there's any actual.
It's
just funny.
It's AI. I guarantee.
Caffeinated
Or it's in Thailand.
tadpoles.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
are all like, what the fuck?
You never know what motherfuckers in Southeast Asian countries do, man. But this
That's
looks
true.
like AI to me.
Yeah. But can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Bad boba.
It's made with real quote unquote milk.
Bad boba. Bad boba. And remember, get your Dr. Squatch today. Smell
It's
better.
Like
Be better.
what boba's like a kind of tea that's got like little fucking gel bubbles in it, right?
Yeah.
They're tapioca pearls.
Yeah, they're basically Orbeez.
And we know from our friend Nomi's experience that it can choke you and nearly kill you. So just imagine
Welcome in, Anti.
trying to fight back like these little guys.
Don't you love how she almost chokes on a boba pearl, but she can stuff 6 crackers in her mouth and swallow without blinking?
That's always the way, though, isn't it? It's always something little you don't think is going to be a problem.
Dude, full stop. I almost got took out by my literal first chip out of a bag of chips yesterday. They were chili cheese Fritos, right? And I reached in and grabbed one and stuck it in my mouth, and when I bit it, a speck of fucking chili dust went down into my lung and triggered the most violent coughing fit I've had in the past 2 years. I thought I was gonna have a fucking heart attack.
Oh my god, I love those chili cheese Doritos, but one, the salt like burns your tongue. They're so salty. And 2, the freaking texture of Fritos is like sandpaper, so it rips your tongue up even more. If I eat a bag of those, I'm fucking like the next day my tongue feels like shit for an whole day.
Right.
Like it's just torn up.
No,
I do love them.
This obviously was just something I saw that I thought was kind of funny. Brought up like Aaron saying "jizz man" in your drink.
Jizz man from space.
Asian tea shop.
What's really funny to me,
Take off the nuke it from orbit.
this was posted by Hollywood Horror Museum, and they were saying nope.
Hard nah. I'm not even getting on that bus with that bitch. I'm leaving that town. There is something wrong with that place just in general. It is being annexed from my itinerary. We're going somewhere else.
Right.
Because I don't have to be there. I'm with her. I say we take off and nuke it from orbit.
It's terrible. It's a terrible thing. And so, that was just kind of a, for lack of a better word, gag.
I see what you did there. What a dick move. That was terrible, bro.
Good balls, though, right?
All right.
Speaking of
ready for this bullshit.
Speaking of balls, I guess. Yeah.
Is this what I think this is?
Yeah.
Or do an intro reading or something?
I'm gonna preface this. So you see this woman right here? She's holding that kid. Where these women are at is a rally in support of a woman named Lindsay Clancy that I'm sure many of you have heard about in the news recently. Right?
Yeah,
they're bringing their children to support a woman who strangled all 3 of her children to death 3 years ago.
Welcome in, Zach.
There is a GoFundMe that is at or near $1 million as we speak. I don't know if it's crossed the line yet, but it's gotten close.
It's almost as if they're trying to normalize really late stage abortions. And when I say really late stage, I'm talking like, how old was the oldest kid? Do we know?
I don't know off the top of my head. No.
8? Was he 8?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't 8. He was young.
Yeah.
Because she was young when they did it.
Well, they claim that it was postpartum depression because I think one of them was a newborn. But the fact is like she strangled them all with exercise rope, like jump ropes. Right. And the last one, the oldest one, she had to chase down because he was trying to get away.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that this had something to do with the way she was treated by her husband, who, by the way, took a fucking bunch of time off to take care of his family when she had this latest kid. Something like 9 months of paternity leave, which I always thought was a joke, but apparently that's a thing in some places. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. They say she was crazy. She had clarity of mind to send him away from the house. That shows that she knew. She also tried to kill herself after. Yeah, that means she was aware there's going to be consequences. That shows you're not crazy. Yeah, they try to blame this on the guy. Like he could have done shit about it. All you can do is try to help your family members or take your kids away from her, which then they would be bitching that somehow taking a child away from a mother is some sort of awful thing. When it's kind of showing that maybe women shouldn't be raising kids. God damn.
Well, in her specific case, yeah, there's occasionally you hear about these women who off their children. There was that other woman a few years ago who drowned her boys in a car, right? If you remember that, like pushed them into a lake. This does happen from time to time. It's fucking horrendous, but it does happen. But it's typically and generally speaking, and in all manner of should not ever be considered the fucking norm. But we're seeing this massive turnout of these bitches show up, and a lot of whom have their own children in tow, like this fat bitch right here. She's sitting there with that little child at a rally to support someone who murdered her children. Fuck is wrong with you, America?
So if we're gonna do this, let's do this right. But we're going to watch this video first. It's only 21 seconds. And then I'm going to go in on this raw dog with both balls. All right.
If you'll ever have this many women in one place at one time who may understand all of us on a level that others don't. So
tell me, with real quick, would they be okay with if all men stood in a fucking field and we all showed solidarity and said, well, yeah, this dude raped like 30 women, but it was mental. He had mental problems. So it's okay, everyone. Yeah, we support
some of these bitches might.
They would lose their fucking mind.
All right. So there's two sides to this coin, and there's no way to bring the two sides together in a way that's going to both represent justice and represent humanity, right? Mm-hmm. You have a person who murdered three people who depended on her. She took advantage of trust and all manner of uphill battles and shit, and she did the thing. And she's saying she was crazy. Oops, my bad. But she's not going to walk regardless of what they decide to do. She will either go to prison or she will go to a mental institution. And in neither case do I think she will ever see the light of day, right? The question currently, from what I understand, is whether or not there's going to be a death penalty on the table. Is that even a thing?
No, they are trying for the temporary insanity defense, which has only actually worked like a handful of times that it's been tried. And even then, when it does work, you typically do more time in a mental facility than you ever would have done in prison.
That's kind of my point, is like, if this works, she'll never get out.
You know, I mean, they've sort of neutered the fucking psych hospitals.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying earlier. Now, there are more businesses registered as psychological establishments than there have ever been in history. And yet they treat not only fewer patients, but to a lower standard than the sanatoriums and asylums of the mid-20s.
Yeah. Most of which fell apart actually in the 80s and 90s when it came to light that a lot of those places were torturing people for experimentation and sometimes fun. So like it wasn't all roses back then either. But
you ever heard of a place in Georgia called Milledgeville?
No, I can't say as I have.
All right, so it used to be the capital of Georgia back like way before the Revolutionary War days, right? Anyway, Milledgeville, for whatever reason, was chosen as the location to build like the state mental institution, the state asylum. And before it was a state operated asylum, it was like a sanatorium. The site that the asylum was later constructed was a sanatorium for people that had like tuberculosis and other mental deficiencies. And while it was this thing, People who had family that were in the asylum moved into Milledgeville over there by where the asylum was built, right? So there are these little suburb type neighborhoods all over Milledgeville over there that are literally the family members of the criminally insane. Can you imagine what kind of weirdness that place gets up to at night?
Yeah.
This went on for generations, 3 generations. This was the place when you had a kid that couldn't quite take care of themselves in an adult fashion. You'd take them up there and have them committed. And the way the whole system worked before the state took it over, and I just read this. I don't know if this was actually practiced, if it's real. This was what some of the propaganda of the time said. Basically, you'd move into somewhere nearby and spend as much time with your family member as you want.
If I think they should take a photo of all the women at these kind of things faces and put it in a book so guys can read it and make sure, these women should never get kids. And if they have kids, like, I would seriously try to take my kid away from them. 'Cause this is sick. We know from the past that when women find out they can get away with something, they'll do it over and over again, just like the claims of he hit me, right? A woman will do something bad, and then the second the cops get there to hold them responsible for the bad they did, it's he hit me, or so yeah, if she gets away with this, if she somehow skates and doesn't suffer any consequences, like I said, I would like, seriously, especially if my wife was a supporter of this shit, think about taking my kids away from them.
Yeah.
This is sick. Like I said, what she did was one thing, and to sit there and say that have sympathy for her, that she was going through some emotional thing, that's fine. But to sit in a field, fucking putting your hand in a fucking heart, seeing there acting like this chick should get off scot-free and face no consequences, when think about what those children went through. They had to sit there and look at their mother as she pulled a rope around their fucking neck and strangled the life out of them. Yeah, one by
5
one.
minutes apiece. She had plenty of time to figure out what she was doing was wrong, if in fact
But she's the victim.
Was out of her head. I don't believe she was.
She's the victim. Fuck
So
that shit.
the whole reason I made reference to sanatoriums and asylums is, even though there are more businesses responsible for these people, there seem to be less effective than they were in the 20s and 30s. Yeah. Was Bedlam a nightmare? Certainly. It was a horrible place, and it had horrible rules, and it was absolutely terrible. Put in measures to prevent Bedlam from taking place, but we have to have somewhere to put our unstable people where they'll be taken care of. Likewise, we need some heavily secure locations to put our criminally insane people, if we're not just going to, chip or shred them and use them to replenish the southwestern desert.
No, it's we need an Arkham Asylum, but with better gate security.
What we don't need is Batman, right? Like, we don't need none of that shit.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. I've been a bit disconnected. This has been everywhere. This is very, very hard to miss, because it's just fucking everywhere. People are either supporting this bitch or they're on my side of the fence, but everybody is fucking talking about this bitch. And the fact is like I said, 5 minutes apiece. Strangulation is not an easy death.
This is true.
It takes a minute.
It's crazy. Ready for the next one?
I suppose. By the way, fuck Lindsay Clancy and all of her supporters.
Yeah.
Fuck all you guys.
I don't have any support for her. I just have a tiny bit of sympathy for a person who is in a position where a system that they clearly put faith in completely failed them.
Dude, I don't disagree with that sentiment. What I'm talking about is a bitch who chose to murder her children one at a time.
I got you. I feel you. I'm deep in the weeds with you, bro. Like, I'm with it.
I mean, even if
it
she
was a
was
failure,
whacked out of her head on fucking conflicting psychiatric medication or whatever, and all of that, like, even if you could prove somehow that it wasn't her fault, and I don't believe that they can prove this, but even if you could prove somehow that it wasn't her fault, that she wasn't in her right head or whatever, it's not, like I've made this comparison before. It's not a rabid dog's fault that it's a terror and a danger to everyone around them. You still don't keep them the fuck around.
Yeah, like I know maybe I'm not having any of those issues, so maybe it's, easy for me to say this not being in that position, but if I ever had voices in my head telling me to hurt my children, I'd put a bullet in my mouth before I fucking hurt my children. I'd take myself out before I ever fucking did that.
Any reasonable and normal parent would, right? Like, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, and I've mentioned this on a channel before too, but it was some time ago, and it's not something I like talking about a whole lot.
In Minecraft, by the way.
In South Dakota, when I lived there, this would have been about 8-9 years ago now, there was a fire 2 blocks down from my front door, right? It's in the middle of the night. I got up, I was watching, the fire department was down there and all that, like any nosy neighbor would. I found out the next day that in that fire, 5 children burned alive. Now, I worked for the hospital, the local hospital, and the next day when I went into work, not only did I hear all about it because it was all over, it's kind of big news in the town, but the parents of those children were being treated for smoke inhalation and trauma in the hospital I worked in, and crying about how they could do nothing but watch as their children burned alive within earshot, within eyeshot. I had to go somewhere else very quickly because I do not understand how any parent doesn't die fucking trying to save their kids. Right? I had to willingly put them in harm's way, like Lindsay Clancy. Minecraft or no, you need to be erased from existence because you are a threat to the entire fucking future of the species, especially your own bloodline, obviously. You don't fuck with kids.
Agreed.
Yeah, they
ask your question. This is a trap. I'm gonna do you, Devil. It's a trap. Can you say that?
It's a trap.
Okay. So you have 3 women. All of the women have 4 kids each. One of the women, her husband died in action for the U.S. military. Second widow is drunk driver killed her husband. The third is a single mother with 4 different baby daddies. Which one deserves the most care?
Say them one more time.
There are 3 single mothers.
Okay.
All of them have 4 kids. First was husband died in action. Second one, husband died of a car accident. Third, never had a husband, has 4 different baby daddies. Which of those kids deserve entitlements?
The kids deserve entitlements?
I mean, I'm not saying this right. I did this better when I was drunk. Never mind.
Like benefits, like
benefits. Thank you.
Programs, that kind of thing.
Well, I try to help all the kids as much as you could. I don't know who.
Thank you. Thank you. That is the correct answer. That is the only.
The kids aren't guilty of anything.
Exactly. You ask somebody that and they go, well, the veteran's wife probably deserves it. I'm like, no, they're children. They didn't choose how to get here. They don't choose how they live until they're adults. So they all get the same consideration. Raise them as well as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I shared a thing. This is exactly essentially what Sam was saying. This woman, while that Clancy woman killed her kids, this woman ran in, got burns over 93% of her body, saving her 6 kids from a fire.
That's a
Kept
mother.
going in. Yeah, that's now I can't sit there and say, you know, oh, I would, but I can't speak for everyone to do that. But this is a
So,
mother. Clancy
That's the
ain't a
type
mother.
of mother
She
that
was
fights a bear
fucking
off
bad
with a
person.
rock.
Damn
Right.
straight.
Yeah,
This
She
is
stands
something that
flat-footed
mothers
over the top
should
of her
be doing.
kid, beats a bear to death with a fucking rock. Like,
You know, like
this
you
is
hear,
the type of woman that's the reason we're all still alive today.
yeah. Now, and that's maternal instinct, is what that is, right? This is something that
So-
should be innate in all mothers everywhere, and for some reason in the modern era, fucking isn't.
We took all the corners off of everything and put warning labels everywhere. Now the stupid are reproducing.
Well, and then we started mixing SSRIs with their day drinking habits.
Wow. And not to mention the Xanax moms of the universe, dude. You realize the children of Xanax moms are just now leaving college and high school and shit, right? And so an entire generation of whatever mom is now going into the workforce.
Yep. But either way, my hat's off to this MS Scholes.
Yep. Good
Hell
shit.
yeah.
I like it. See, that's the kind of stories you should be bringing me, Stan. Why am I over here like crying in my fucking ear every goddamn week? Jesus Christ, dude.
I'll show you
Why
my
you hate
feet
me?
sometime, man. This kind of thing doesn't
No,
really show up.
just no. Don't just no. Not it. No. Nope. Nope.
You know, believe it or
Speaking
not,
of, are we still going to
years-
talk about Ruby Ridge?
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
actually,
speaking of
we
guns.
should mention that. Yeah, today, because I think you said something about that yesterday too, for good reason.
Yeah, yesterday was the anniversary, if you want to call it that, of that.
No, it was anniversary is exactly the right word for it. It's the day that marks the annual event or time from the event. So, but yeah,
It was over multiple days.
yeah.
Sure.
How many years was that? It was because Ruby Ridge was 90s,
Oh God, when was it?
80s.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was in the 90s.
I'm gonna have to look this shit up.
I'm not good with dates and names. I'm awful with names.
Right.
But I know
Ruby
all the.
Ridge
I know
was
all
August
the.
1992 between federal law
92.
enforcement and separatist Randy Weaver family at their remote cabin in Boundary County, Idaho. The siege resulted in the deaths of Weaver's 14-year-old son, Sammy, his wife, Vicky, and U.S. Deputy Marshal William Deegan.
It would have been 34 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
That
this
was.
is directly from the AI Google bot machine. The origins of the conflict are the firearms charge. Randy Weaver was entrapped by an undercover federal informant into selling a sawed-off shotgun with an illegal barrel length. He missed a court date. Weaver was given an incorrect court date by mistake, leading him to miss his hearing and a federal judge to issue a bench warrant for his arrest. And the setup. Because Weaver held extreme anti-government and anti-separatist and white separatist views and holed up in his cabin, the U.S. Marshal Service began a secret surveillance on his property. And yeah, you'd start doing that, and then the dogs start barking. You shoot a dog, they shoot you. You shoot everybody. You're the government. You win.
Essentially. But this is another example, like Waco, of the government poking at something until it gives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
okay. Should he have sold the shotgun? Probably
No.
not.
No, it probably shouldn't have. However,
But there's other ways to go about shit, man. You ain't
Well,
necessarily got to go in guns blazing.
well, the government from day one fucked this whole thing up. I mean, when you look at it, the whole reason they were trying to set him up for the guns was because they were trying to get him to a form on the Aryan nation that lived 16 miles away from him. that he was okay with. They were neighbors. He didn't agree with them. Like he said, he's a white separatist. He believed the separation, not racism. He didn't believe white people were superior. He just thought the races should mix.
He was a base segregationist.
Yeah, they tried to get him on this solely so they could fucking force him into informing on them to try to infiltrate them. And then at the end of this whole thing, it turns out that they had so many informants from so many different agencies inside the white fucking Aryan nation. And the Aryan nation knew about all of them. They said, oh, we love them. We gave them all the information they wanted. Why? Because we knew who they were. We would give them fake information, and then they would give us money. So the government, just like now, is the one feeding and paying for these racist organizations.
Back in
but yet they had to do that to this man.
Like, I think it was the mid-90s. There was this case where there was an effort to kidnap I think it was like the governor of Hawaii or some shit like that. It was something really weird, right? And it was really dumb planned because she's almost never there because she's always in Washington or whatever to try to push whatever bullshit Hawaii's got going. Anyway, the story goes like this, and I'm not 100% on the details, but there were 7 people involved in the plot. Only one was ever named, because the other 6 were all either confidential informants or literal freaking agents.
Yeah.
And this man was convicted, kept in jail for like 5 or 6 years, and then eventually released because the case against him was actually completely trumped up. Like, basically they all got in the van one day and was like, hey, give us a ride over to this place, and then they arrested him because they were planning on kidnapping. So a bunch of agents got together and planned some shit and then asked the dude to drive them over there. Was essentially the case. It was fucking retarded.
Yeah. All over the board.
It was never even in the state when this was going on, by the way.
Yeah. It's the government loves to fucking set its own people up. You can't trust shit. This was the thing that black-pilled me completely on the government. Before that, back in high school, before I freaking found out the whole case, I was like, oh yeah, I'm never going to be a like socialist. I never believed the government is going to fix everything, but I believe that the government did want to do good by the people. This is the thing that black-pilled me. I wouldn't trust the government for shit. Because this is what they do. It's all a setup. Same thing with Jan 6. And when Jan 6 happened, I said, I guarantee you, no matter what the FBI agent, lead FBI agent sitting up there on Capitol Hill says, they're going to have had dozens of agents in that crowd. And what we find out? There were dozens of agents in that crowd. There were freaking paid informants. There were freaking all over the board. They made Jan 6 happen. And I knew it before the ink dried on that shit. And I think most people did.
I was standing in the living room screaming at my TV that there's no Antifa at this rally. How's that even possible? Not one black guy walking around. That is impossible for that to be legitimate.
Yeah.
Especially that time period too.
I'd like to say it was something as far back as like Janet Reno's Texan clusterfuck, but I didn't find out the facts about that until well after it happened. Because I was still in school and I didn't care that much about shit. If I'm being honest, it was later on.
I got black-pilled way early on.
But for me, it was right about the, Iraq is hiding weapons of mass destruction portion of things that where I started to fucking go like, no, wait a minute.
Hold on a second here. With me, when I was a kid, every weekend we would go and spend 2 days out at a range, like all the freaking time. If it wasn't raining, we were shooting guns, we were blowing shit up, we were having a freaking blast, right? When I was about 13 or 14, the 3 or 4 local militias that we were mucking around with, each individually over the course of about a year, had the old fogey sergeant that was in charge of this militia group get replaced by some hip, new, young, tactical guy with a dive watch and Oakley sunglasses, and all of them looked like they got marched out of the same little press-made freaking mold back at Langley. And we just stopped going. And it was something like we went camping and stuff for a while after that, but it's just not the same when you're not blowing shit up, you know?
Right.
And I mean, it was a hoot. We'd go grill burgers and sit around and bullshit and have a big old time for, 48 hours and then go home. And it ruined it because suddenly everybody was trying to register everything that everybody had, and it was real weird because it turned into like a really weird HOA kind of situation where all of these militia standards that you're supposed to abide by, they try to like send people by to check and see if you're abiding by them, which is weird. And so the second time one of these guys showed up at my house to come tour our guns, I showed him one, told him to leave. I mean, dude, like I said, I wasn't but 13, 14 when this was going on, and this is the 3rd or 4th time one of these freaking cookie cutter Langley specials had come walking up, and I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, dude. You don't find this place by accident.
Yeah.
3rd time somebody wanted to come count our guns. The hell's wrong with you, dude?
My
I
dad
lost
lives
them all
in
in a horrible boating accident, don't you know?
My dad lives in a similar kind of setup in southern Illinois. He has a very, very long drive with a very clear view all the way down it. You don't knock on his door by accident.
Well, I mean, it's just, this isn't, you have your primary, secondary, and tertiary roads. This road is secondary to the tertiary ones. It doesn't actually go anywhere. The only purpose for this road is the road on the left travels 12 miles to attach to the road on the right. And they made a little road here so that the trucks wouldn't have to go, but they never actually built the goddamn road right to start with. And so it was always so bad that none of the trucks would actually use it.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I was 9 when that road was officially started being county maintained. So, I mean, like, it's
slightly off topic, but when you talk about county maintained fucking dirt roads and shit, like I lived on a dirt road in Wyoming at one point that was just outside of town, like literally just outside of town, right? But it was in that weird place where the city was like, no, that's the county's problem, and the county was like, no, that's the city's problem. We had a neighbor with a scraper who did our road maintenance for us.
Right. Yeah, no, for 2 years, for several years when I was a child, the guy at the end of the road had a big ass freaking tractor, and he would come through and maintain the road, which also included anytime the creeks washed out the road, he'd go out in the woods and fetch the damn culverts back and repack them up.
Right. What is this back here, Devil? You got a thing back here. What's up?
I think he forgot he shared it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was all right.
Speaking of guns.
Yeah, we'll move on now. But for the record, if you kill your kids, you have no place in society.
Agreed. Speaking of guns, so Ehrenhausen wants to know why NASA needs rifles. It appears NASA is to buy lightweight semi-automatic rifles. Now, I guess they are a civilian division, aren't they? I thought they were mostly like derived from military sources, though. Wouldn't they have access to automatics?
Yes and no. I think they're adjacent to Space Force, right, which is military, but they're not part of Space Force. Exactly.
No.
So the question is, what did you find up there, NASA?
Yeah.
Well, even if they found something up there, they wouldn't be able to use guns. I don't think guns would necessarily work right in space.
Right.
The
We,
bullets.
we have
They're oxygen
cartridges
dependent.
that do. No,
Yeah.
we have cartridges that do. Certain detonite and
Sure,
explosive
okay.
based cartridges that aren't derived through gunpowder and whatnot.
So
Yeah.
how do you get around like
Gravity.
chemical based explosion that propels a projectile inside of a pressurized tube?
Well, first of all, you don't do that at all. That's just no.
Like projectile
just don't
weapons
do that.
on board a spacecraft are insane.
Well,
Well,
if you
we
do
might
the
need,
math on that, every time you pull the trigger, because of the expansion of gases and the creation of gases from solid, you're going to increase the overpressure inside the joint by like 100 times, and then it collapses back down. And so you're going to overstress every soft seal in that fucking thing with every shot, which explains the semi-automatic nature of it.
Mhm. It is
like
like why would NASA need the weapons though? Like at all? That is a good question. What did they find?
yeah, it's
Security.
more question what do they think is going to come here? Because if they're buying those kind of weapons, it's because they're going to be used here, not because they're going to be used in a special vacuum of space. So do they know something we don't? Like we're going to get visited here soon by like they're
I'm
all like,
just
let's
saying.
prepare.
Their founding
Yeah.
member, Werner von Braun, might have known a thing or two about the secret base on the dark side of the moon that may or may not be shaped like a swastika.
Maybe. Oh my God.
You know? So I mean, maybe
What's the
maybe
movie-
the moon Nazis are coming home.
What's the movie where President Roosevelt killed Sasquatch or something?
No.
What's the name of that movie,
Of the one with Sam, what's his name, with the big fucking mustache?
The guy
yeah, it's
that's
called
got the
The Man Who-
swastika watch, where it's
The
hate
name-
time all the time.
I don't know if this is the same movie then, but the name of the movie I'm thinking of is The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's the one. There's the scene at the beginning of that movie where it's obvious Nazi walking down the street going to a business thing, and he checks his watch. And when he checks his watch, the timepiece is a swastika. The swastika is what's ticking. There are numbers all the way around it, but it tells no fucking time because it's Nazi time all the time, apparently. I fucking, well, I was sitting there watching it. I was eating some goddamn mac and cheese or something, and I saw that shit, blue macaroni and cheese, out my fucking nose laughing, bro. Like, it killed me.
Right. People keep asking, and by people I mean BTK, asking where Shadu is. Shadu had to go get ready for his blanket party, man. He may be back.
Yeah, he's having a sleepover.
Although I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad he wasn't here for the last conversation.
Right?
I don't know that would have been good. Necessarily, but
Welcome in, Pickle. Good to see you, bud.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just funny to me, and it kind of leads into the next thing a little bit.
But let's game theory this out a bit. There are a double handful of positions involved in NASA that maybe should already be armed, right? You've got security, you've got all kinds of people walking perimeters and whatnot, that type of stuff.
Marines
I don't have a
assigned to
problem
people
with
who
that.
have state secrets in their head.
Sure.
I don't see why not. They do that shit
Yeah.
for people who work on nuclear subs when they retire.
Right.
Happened to my brother-in-law. He was on a nuclear sub
Yeah.
for like 11 fucking years, and for the next 10 after that, he had a Marine following him around, ready to shoot him at a moment's notice in case he gave anything away.
It was a size C screw. Bam.
That was the Marine's job. He wasn't allowed to make friends with him. He was just there, posted there in case the dude was compromised. His job was to kill him.
Project Sam Crowder is a go. Order 63.
Right.
This is dark, dude. I don't like this.
Fair enough. I'm just saying, maybe that's why NASA has guns. Maybe they've got Marines assigned to key special personnel.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought they were just killing them off. I mean, you've seen the list of scientists that have gone barmy recently, right?
Yeah, but most of those had to do with nuclear energy, didn't they? And like
Well,
not even nuclear, but
no,
like
no,
fission.
no, not specifically. A lot of them had to do with proposed propulsion systems. A lot of them had to do with like, I don't understand the science behind it, but somehow utilizing electricity to
Oh, you're
create
talking about the
horizontal thrust.
electrostatic stuff? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some of that shit.
So essentially what it is you end up with this giant electromagnetic generator, right? Which it doesn't have to be giant or whatever. It's basically a big fucking battery that charges the outer shell or the hull or whatever of the object, which turns it into an electrostatic conductor. And what that does is it basically uses electricity to latch onto particles and propel itself forward. Or backward or up or down or whatever the fuck. But essentially they're claiming it is fuelless propulsion, that it's the kind of technology they're going to need if we're ever going to get beyond like the moon base or whatever that they're planning on building.
It's not fuelless propulsion. It's
I agree.
Propulsion.
They're saying fuelless. I think that seems kind of silly because you have to generate the electricity
if you had
somehow.
fission, then maybe. But my point is, it would take fuel to make the fission in any event. But
right,
massless propulsion is supposedly the ultimate goal of the specific group of scientists that have gone barmy or missing or whatever. Because it's not just the ones that went missing or got murdered or died of walking down the street or whatever.
Right.
There's also about 12 others that have, quote unquote, lost their cookies and have been institutionalized out of the same group. And so they were all discredited and they don't really show up in the news, but I mean, they're out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's also like a lot of this stuff. There's a couple of people right now who are very much alive and all that. Just did an interview recently on the fucking YouTubes about their proposed electrostatic propulsion device, which they claim is basically a Star Trek impulse engine. And they're saying they're the only ones that actually have anything that actually works.
There's I'm really big into all the old sci-fi authors, Arthur C. Clarke, Asimov, all those guys, right? I'm not 100% certain which one of them. I think it was E. Doc Smith. I think homie wrote about the massless propulsion drive like years before it was like even considered. And what his proposal was that you build a huge ass ship on the surface of the earth that's basically a big ass water tank. Then you use a fission drive to boil the water and use it for thrust to launch the entire thing into space. Once it gets up into orbit, it'll be basically mostly out of water, and what water is there is frozen and becomes solid. You detach, drain off all the water, basically mine that shit out of the shell, send the shell back down, and then utilize what he referred to as, it was the best description is the caterpillar drive from Red, The Hunt for Red October. The weird silent drive that they use in there basically accelerates water out the back through agitation without noise, right? There's no turbulence, and so noise is created. This does the same thing, but with like space, not mass, just where it is in space. It charges appropriately to move forward. It makes no sense mathematically, but it's a demonstrable principle that works in physics on a very small level.
Kinda, yeah. So I don't know.
Making it move a ship, that's a whole nother ballgame, bro.
Right. Well, and that's where they were going with this electromagnetic thing. Is basically it turns the entire ship into basically a you know how sometimes when you touch a doorknob it zaps your ass.
Dude, I will literally make visible sparks in the daylight if it's cold enough.
Right. So they want to turn this whole outer shell into that, sort of like a reverse Faraday cage, I guess. And each of these sparks that shoots out and seeks nearby, whatever, because as you know, like it goes from one point to another, right? Half the time you don't even have to touch the doorknob before the spark shoots out and zaps you anyway, right? So that's what they're looking for is that kind of interaction to pull the thing directionally along particles that are just kind of floating out there in space. Now, of course, this assumes that space is in fact as full as they're saying that it is, because you need particles to latch on, or you would be basically, you'd be fucked. You'd be going nowhere.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. I really don't see how it would function outside of an electromagnetic sphere.
Mm-hmm.
That whole concept, I'm not sure what it does once it gets out in the black.
I suppose, because if you have a loose definition of particles, then maybe, because you'd also be talking about like radiation waveforms and photon particles and that sort of thing, which do exist out there in the black. They're just, I don't know that that's necessarily a reliable source of particles that can be used for this. At least not yet. There's no way to know, though, until we get out there.
So in another one of those really old science fiction books that I read, they had something called a hydrogen scoop or ram scoop. And the way the ship was built was kind of like an upside down traffic cone with the module at the very back. And it scooped up hundreds of thousands of square meters of empty space in order to gather enough hydrogen to burn in its fission drive. Allegedly, this one could reach like 0.4, 0.5 light speed, something like that, before it has to turn around.
That's pretty goddamn
Once it turns around, it's fucked, though. That's the thing, is turning around means it's no longer scooping.
Yeah, it also loses all of its fucking momentum.
No, we're in space. You can just turn around. Momentum maintains. It just keeps going until it hits something, which will be a star in a few million years, probably.
So when I hear you say turn around, I assume that you mean turn around and go back the direction that you came from.
Well, that's the thing, is when you flip, you have to have thrust to stop your forward momentum, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a ram scoop, and it derives its food, if you will, from the random hydrogen molecules in the black, right?
Sure.
When it turns around, it's no longer gathering hydrogen molecules. It was a really weird drive that I don't know. I never really liked it, but it's funny. It was a funny story. Sorry. Now what, fearless leader? You only got 2 stars left. You can only inflict so much pain.
I know. Let's bring up the next one. I think it's somewhat adjacent to this.
Right. Giggity giggity. Okay, so director Michael Kratsis. Okay. Today, POTUS signed a new national space transportation policy, one that meets this moment of explosive growth and positions America to lead the next era of space. In the 13 years since the last update to the policy, U.S. launches have surged 10 times from 19 successful orbital launches in 2013 to 178 in 2025. This policy builds on that momentum and enable 1,000 launches and re-entries on American soil by 2030. Most of our launch infrastructure dates back to the 1960s. You want to go?
Yeah. It's important to note that it doesn't specifically say public sector launches.
Yeah, it doesn't say who's launching. I really wouldn't have a whole lot of problem having some foreign involvement in our space agency. I know that sounds kind of wild, but the space, I mean, I think we could all agree space is one of those places that's kind of a worldwide concern.
If you are talking about a level of cooperation, say on the scale of like the ISS, sure.
With certain countries, like, to be honest, I don't want China in space at all.
I don't really want to dick around with Pakistan and India's individual space programs either.
Right. But I'm saying those countries which have, of course, approved technology and space programs of whatever level is determined by the federal government, I don't necessarily have a problem with them making use of landing and launching opportunities here. They would, of course, have to finance them and the whole nine, but I don't hate the idea.
I think I like the idea of the private sector a little bit better because I think competition drives innovation a little bit more than anything else. I mean, like the reason NASA was so successful in the 60s and 70s, right, is because they were competing against foreign nations. It like if they didn't have the competition, there wouldn't have been the drive to get to the moon as fast as they did, or in the same manner or whatever. We may never have gotten there.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the competition is healthy. So on the one hand, I kind of get like some cooperation, like with the ISS and all that stuff, but because like space is, you're right, it is a global concern, but I'd rather my country be leading the effort to deal with global concerns than say, I don't know,
So
anybody else.
Sam, do you honestly think these people are going to be bringing technology onto our shores and launching them from our launch stations that we don't fucking understand them and know what they are?
No. It ain't about
Okay.
not understanding.
I'm just saying, in
about-
the spirit of cooperation, I don't necessarily have a problem with foreign involvement in the space agencies.
all I'm saying is like our long-standing fucking nuclear rivals, Russia. You really want them building fucking launch pads on our soil for any reason?
Well, obviously not.
I'm just saying.
I've seen Red Dawn twice. I mean,
Like, it's bad enough they got them in Cuba, man.
Wolverines.
So, but no, this. However, when they're talking about like not, the number of launches, we're looking at. I don't know where Jeff Bezos's whole space program went. What the fuck happened with that? I don't think that's really going to go anywhere. That was more of a vanity project for him. But SpaceX is trying to push those boundaries, and they're not the only private sector company to do so. They're just by far the most well-funded and to date most successful at it.
Yeah.
One of those tinfoil hat crackpots that I talked to online, he believes that the whole point of this most recent spat of rockets and stuff being designed is to maintain the technology for the actual push that's going to take place in like 20 years. Because, we've kind of lost the ability to do a Saturn rocket at this point.
Yeah, well, that's the big problem with rocketry and with a lot of fields, actually, that we don't have a new generation of expertise yet. They're going to have to basically reinvent those fields. Like they've had to reinvent how to build fucking rockets over at SpaceX because most of the fucking experts in that shit are dead or retired.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand is just because you invent a technology, just because you put something out there, doesn't mean now it's there. You can lose your knowledge of that if you guys don't keep working at it, And that's exactly it. There was this big push to get into space and build stuff that could go in space and all this thing. And then the public lost interest, the government lost interest when they figured out they couldn't, exploit it. And yeah, now they have to, rethink the whole thing and start.
This guy's whole point is that the actual needed machinery hasn't been constructed yet. And so in order to exploit spaceborne things, you either have to construct really large machinery or you have to figure out a way to construct it in orbit. And that the next big push has to do with being able to lift a given payload amount. So they can construct whatever this is going to be modularly, kind of like they did the space station as a first pass kind of concept. You remember the arm? All of the trash about that freaking Canadian arm they built that was so gay?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know if it was the Canadians' fault that it was gay, but it's pretty gay. It's always sitting around with its wrist limped up. It's always weird.
Well, this is going to go to hopefully like you see it in Star Trek where they would build the ships in space at space docks, right?
Right.
Instead of sending everything up there, you make it up there.
Yeah, and
Well-
that's the like taking the materials, the raw materials up there, and then assembling it up there does kind of make a lot more sense. Obviously, you can't construct like a USS Enterprise on the ground and ever expect it to fucking break atmo.
Right.
It's too
And-
massive.
But there's another step there that most people aren't involved in construction of large things, right? And so whether you're building a ship or a building or a skyscraper or a dam or whatever, you always have to bring the materials to where you're going to build it. Unless, and this is the only way I think we'll ever do anything large enough to even conceive of crossing the black, is you establish a base on the moon, because escape velocity of the moon is way more respectable than escape velocity on Earth. And Mars is a trap. I think Mars is a trap to determine whether we're smart enough to ignore a dead planet and move on elsewhere.
Yeah.
Venus has some promise. It's not totally useless. It at least has activity on it that doesn't exist on Mars.
I don't
Right.
know that I agree that Venus is a better choice. I think it's probably
I think they're both
bad for exactly the opposite reasons.
If you believe in God, I believe both of these were placed before us as two equally bad choices to teach us that we can't look close by for things. We have to look in the black.
you imagine a creator being like, you know what? I'm going to put two other worlds within reach, and basically they'll both be stay fucking home signs.
I mean, more or less. But then again, no, there's the moon, though. The moon is so perfect for this purpose.
The moon's deader than
It's
Mars
got-
is, man.
Yes, it is. But because it is such a large body, it does have a measurable amount of gravity. That measurable amount of gravity allows us to acquire a whole shitload of building material and launch it into space from the moon much cheaper than we can do it from here. So the modules they're wanting to send up in like the next 20 years are basically tunnel drilling machines, mining apparatuses, things like that.
You thinking they kind of want to do a series on
the moon. Yeah. Well, actually, the moon is a harsh mistress. Have you ever read that one?
long time ago. Don't really remember.
That's what they're going to do to the moon, I think.
Yeah. I keep going back to the Expanse, right? Like when you think about the three main powers, right? You got Earth, Mars, and the Belt. Who runs Earth?
Yeah, I know.
Master Blaster.
That would be an improvement, actually. Just saying.
At least that'd
Just
be
saying.
singular.
The fucking UN takes over everything. I'm not cool with that. Which is where I get trepidatious about international cooperation. You know,
Right,
because
I'm hip.
inevitably it leads to some bullshit like that.
So here's where we're at. We don't quite have the ability to launch, say, half a tunnel boring machines. You're looking at a launch setup that's going to take 20 years at least. And that's if you started launching shit tomorrow. And we're nowhere near that type of stuff. You're talking about being able to put together a 30 to 50 year project in order to get the very first machine to build the first bit of usable space on the moon. Before that, you're going to have to go in there with like your little rover doohickeys or find a particularly flat place to start. Now, what to do with it after the fact, I have no freaking clue. But all of that shit gets launched and processed. I don't know how far you can process steel without oxygen handy. Not sure how that's going to work out.
I
Well,
don't
that's-
know that you can, because steel is something that like steel is tempered iron, right? And you need heat to temper iron, extreme amounts of it.
Well,
Pretty sure we're pretty good at making heat, so I'm not sweating that part. It's the chemistry part of it that I wonder about, and
Yeah.
it being done in a vacuum. I'm not sure how all of that works out.
well, that's
Also- Go ahead. Real
as
quick.
we're getting closer to automation of everything, it gets more practical too, because you're talking about if you're building like something in space, they don't need oxygen. They also don't need to take breaks. They also don't need to, so you can get these massive things that would, if you were having man build them, would take so long because of all those rules, regulations, where they can build, when they can build, all these things you wouldn't have to have with robots and stuff. So if they're building big things to drill into the moon or whatever you're saying, yeah, you have them up there. You could have it automated, and then, like I said, just build.
Which is essentially what they did in Star Trek with the Utopia Planitia shipyards. With it was mostly entirely robotically run.
Building the shell without needing oxygen, just floating around it in space, just welding everything and putting
also. Clue, you're only saying that because Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere to retain heat. And not much of one anyway.
Well, the thing about Venus is it's not that it's uninhabitable. The issue is that you can't inhabit the ground. And so it's not impossible to imagine a Kevlar balloon, something like a big blimp or some such, floating through the clouds of Venus. There should be a layer of the atmosphere there.
Maybe above the clouds. The clouds of Venus are mostly sulfuric acid. They'd eat right through.
Not all of them. Most of the clouds are acidic water, but the very, very upper layers are mostly just distilled water. It's just water. And that would be the part that we would be interested in.
The atmospheric ionization. They've got a wicked thunderstorm problem.
Yeah, I imagine so. It makes sense. And it's not derived from a liquid core, is it?
No, it's a rocky planet like ours.
Right. So does Venus have a electromagnetic field, or is it tidally locked?
I think it has the electromagnetic. I don't think it's tidally locked at all. But yeah, no, the whole constant cloud cover, along with all the other shit going on in that atmosphere. The atmosphere is not what you'd call a calm environment by any stretch. I mean, they've got constant wind speeds going. They've got fucking nasty shit in the fucking clouds. They've got lightning.
Sure.
Pretty much all the time.
I'm just saying.
Bolts that make our bolts look like tiny little pussies.
Technologically speaking, we are kind of on the cusp of being able to accomplish something like that. But like Devil, we're saying we will need the capability of building exceptionally large things. In this case, like giant carbon fiber or Kevlar balloons or something like that. And then there's all the testing that's going to be necessary to move forward with it. There's got to be a moon base in that. There's no two ways about it. Unless we happen to catch an asteroid sometime. Then we might be able to do a space elevator. But even then, the space elevator, dude, if you've ever seen any of the math involved in a collapsing space elevator, it is world altering. When a carbon cable comes down that weighs a few billion tons and wraps around the earth 3 times in its process at the speed of fucking sound, that's devastating.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it would be. Be like super Ozempic for the whole planet. Anyway, hi Shadu. Welcome back.
Howdy.
So now the reason that we're bringing this up is because this is an official announcement from the current director of NASA. Per something that Trump was saying, where they're going to focus more on this. I don't know. I guess my skepticism is I guess we'll see if any of this fucking happens, because it wouldn't be the first time that a president had said we're going to go ahead and do some cool stuff with the space program that never actually fucking happened. H.W. Bush, I'm looking at you.
Ronald Reagan.
Not even the Star Wars program. Parts of that did happen. They just don't like talking about it because they don't want the enemies to know. But I'm talking about George H.W. Bush told us we'd be on Mars decades ago. I was in grade school and I fucking believed him.
Yeah, I stopped trusting that we would ever get a Death Star. So.
I'm still waiting for my fucking jetpack.
Oh, those exist.
I
They're just
mean-
stupid, expensive, and extremely inefficient.
Okay, well, if I were to become kind of wealthy, I'm still fucking interested. All right.
Jetpacks ain't where it's at. Fucking powered armor is where that shit's at.
No,
Because like you could do a construction site all fucking day and not get tired.
You were
Or
thinking
you
of
can
this on a
go-
purely practical level, kid. It's not about practical. It's about I have a fucking jetpack.
Jetpack.
Well, y'all are children. I'm not.
Yes.
It's simple.
Dude, did you ever read The
Bullshit,
Rocketeer?
dude.
No,
Somebody gives
because
you
you're a
jetpack,
child.
I guarantee you're gonna
Yeah.
fly around with a stupid shit-eating grin on your face like you're 10 years old again.
I don't. I smile with a shitting grin when I'm in the back of an Osprey.
Yeah, but you do it with a jetpack too.
That
That's
checks
what I'm
out.
saying.
Should do it.
It's
Just
your-
shove a rocket up his ass.
It ain't
do it
ain't
that way.
for children. It's because we're men and men like fun things.
Men are just boys that have disposable income. There's literally no difference between a 13-year-old and a 40-year-ld.
That
Save for
doesn't
the fact
in
that
any way
40-year-old has
disprove what I
disposable
just
income.
said.
I'm with Sam
Men
on
like
this
fun
one. You're,
things.
It means you're gay.
Oh, it means I got a dangler between my my, as Skeletor puts it, glorious thighs.
till next time, He-Man.
If you guys can hear me, y'all are roboting on my end. Just give me 1 sec to try to fix that.
So you're just gonna sit there and talk while you don't know if we can hear you because you're what, in charge of this joint? What's up, Nick? Welcome
No,
in,
you
bud.
did.
I know. Just like trying to give the kid hell.
Right.
It makes my day feel complete. I want some chicken nugget.
So, like, but I guess what with the announcement here, I'm not necessarily against what he's announcing. I just don't think that it's likely to happen, especially not in the time frame he's fucking throwing out. You know, keep in mind, 2030 is like 3.5 years from now.
Yeah, no, I get it, but
It's not a long time.
it's not. And I would be curious what the purpose of those launches were, because it's saying here, let's see, most of our launch infrastructure dates back to the 1960s. This policy catalyzes commercial co-investment to build the next generation launch and reentry sites.
I think honestly, this kind of sounds like something that was worded specifically to get under Musk's skin.
I don't think he's worried.
Well, hold on. Now that you mention it, yeah, it does kind of sound like Musk. What is
Because
it
why
called?
would
Musk,
they say SpaceX if they meant SpaceX?
Muskplanation.
Right?
You know, it's like cops splaining, but Musk talking.
Right.
Most of our launch infrastructure dates back from the 1960s. This policy catalyzes commercial co-investment to build the next generation launch and reentry sites and designates an additional federal land reentry site to bring operations home.
So that's
That sounds like
important.
some shit
That's
he would
important.
say while he was mumbling and looking out over the mountains.
Maybe. But that part's important. That means they're going to fucking seize more land.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to
Well, I mean-
gonna, like reclassify land they already have.
Well, it depends. If they've
Eminent
already got some
domain.
launch sites. Well, but here's the thing. We do have still commissioned launch sites from the 60s, 70s. They're just not space launch sites. They're ICBM sites. And there's no reason why an ICBM site wouldn't necessarily work for these type of launch and reentry vehicles.
No, that should be a pretty easy conversion, actually.
Yeah, the more you think about it, the easier it becomes, provided they've got the depth and length that's needed, which is what she said. But
I mean, kind of going back to, I think it was last week's discussion about like the whole Malthusian thing. Wouldn't it make more sense to, instead of like mass dying off the human population, just exodusing us as much as possible? Like that line from The Expanse, the gates opened up and we started tearing down walls on Earth because people can leave. If we can colonize Mars, if we can colonize Venus, if we can conquer Europa, if we can make it to Alpha Centauri and Fortier d'Irani and Wolf 359, if we can colonize the stars, we don't need to get rid of each other. That opens up the issues of dispersing the human population across the galaxy and all of the issues that would come with that for our own governance, let alone the rest of the galaxy. But that is a small sacrifice I am willing to make in order to have space westerns.
I don't think it's really a sacrifice if it's just an expansion of our territory and our domain. I don't really have an
Well,
issue with that either.
So there would be the issue of like if
I would, by the way,
everyone's
I would look at Titan and Io before Europa myself. But
okay, cool. What I'm more referring to is the fact that it depends on how easy it is to space travel. Because if anyone is able to just get their own ship and kind of fuck off to wherever they want to go, you might see a dispersion of the human population to such a degree that we just kind of revert society almost. Like, because you need certain levels of societal development and population sizes to reach a level of complexity within society. That's why you didn't start seeing, say, industrialization until we started touching the early millions of populations. Because you need a certain amount of people to require that kind of output. So if you disperse our population across like thousands and hundreds of thousands of solar systems and shit like that, you might see a kind of reversion to a dark age just because there's not enough people to effectively manage a society.
I want you to read a book, Shadu, called Strata by Terry Pratchett.
There's also what was the name of the series?
Sam, I've got a dip.
Pierce Anthony. All right, bud.
Yeah. All right. I will see you guys next week.
You want to show some shit?
Just check out the vid from last night, the cracker eating competition. One of us succeeded epically and the rest of us failed, so check it out.
It was either Nomi or Dermy.
No, Dermy didn't show up like a bitch because he knew Nomi was going to be there.
Oh, then it was Nomi.
Yeah, it was Nomi.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Wow.
Much love, bro.
Yeah. Well, what's actually really funny about you guys suggesting books is this concept was introduced in the Galaxy's Edge series. And I would not be surprised, given that that is basically just a rip-off of Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, and other sci-fis, if the author just stole that from Strata in whatever book you said, Squatch.
Well, the reason that I bring up Strata is because it's about a corporation that builds planets.
Hello?
Oh, did we lose you again? Are you being all whacked out again? You can't hear a fucking thing I'm saying right now? I could say anything I wanted to right now.
Are the two of you there?
I was with your mom last night. No, he couldn't hear anything. It's fine.
No, he can't hear anything. We can still talk shit to him while he has no idea of what we're saying. And he'll just be like, why'd they take me down? Why'd they take me down? Yeah, he's not a dumb cookie. He's already dropped out.
Yeah.
What he was getting at about the brain drain that might take place if we start colonizing stuff out in space, there's going to be a huge filter established on the first group of people that come rolling off of the Earth, bro. They're going to be the sharpest, the brightest, and the best.
Yep, 100%.
The problem is that leaves the rest of us down here with the ever encroaching Muslim horde.
Which, again, I mentioned this book series a while back, but that's kind of what happened in the Bellevue series, where you had like most of the known galaxy was colonized by the Muslims, but then them, being the Muslims, they couldn't actually effectively govern or hold on to.
Is it just me, or is he cutting in and out?
He's cutting in and out pretty bad.
Yeah, I got no volume on this end, man, if you're still talking.
I'm suspecting that Galaxy's Edge might actually refer to something at least 40K adjacent, maybe. I don't know. Something about it spiraling into chaos.
That's a bar in Disneyland or whatever.
But yeah, no, but there's also a series written by Jason Anspach. And it's what he's talking about, how it's goddamn 25 books long. Fuck.
Yeah, that's why I brought up Strata, though, is it's about a company that builds worlds from the core up, right? And then they deposit settlers with the bare necessities on these worlds. And then, a couple of 100 generations later, it's a thriving civilization, or they all died off.
Right. Okay, so I'll skip the other one. I can't remember what the Pierce Anthony series was that referenced the brain drain. But the whole Chronicles of Lazarus Long is a repeated explanation of the brain drain that takes place from planet to planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Earth loses, say, the top 10% of their best and brightest, and those top 10% stop coming out of Earth because they're not here to breed them anymore.
Right.
How's that float your boat? Tickle your pickle.
I mean,
I mean, does it
maybe.
check out? Well, I don't know that it checks out because there seems to be some type of relationship between really, really, really intelligent people and the least among us, as it were, right?
Sure.
I don't think it's a coincidence that your above average intelligences and your below average intelligences seem to balance out over the bell curve.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
It'd be interesting how, if it works out at all. Like, I'm all for outward expansion because I would like to conquer the stars. I think that would be a neat thing and a worthwhile endeavor for the human species. Logistically, we ain't there yet, obviously. You know, and we may never be anywhere near my my descendants' lifetimes, my great descendants' lifetimes. We'll see what happens, I guess. But they're talking about in under 4 years having a working moon base. Right.
See,
So
realistically,
I'm
it's not.
skeptical. We'll see.
Yeah,
There's
that's
two
not.
philosophies there. Working is something of a subjective term. Does it work for people to go there, perform little scientific experiments, and come and leave? That would be a working moon base, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or are
Kind
we
of like what
talking
they've got in
about
Antarctica right now.
Right. Are we talking about like a functional mining system?
I don't know about. I think that's going to take longer, and I think they understand that's going to take longer. I think they're talking about like bare minimum, but operational and manned.
Yeah. See, because if they want to actually start, if they want to start putting like mining bases and shit like that on there, that is not the kind of thing the U.S. government should be or even able to really functionally do. That's the kind of thing where you go, hey, moon belongs to us. You, private corporation, we're going to give you this plot of land. You can do whatever the fuck you want on this plot of land within these guidelines and terms or whatever. Go buck wild, go have fun. We're going to tax you for it. And then that company goes, sweet, how do we monetize this? And then goes and does the thing to monetize it. And then pays a bunch of other companies to do it. Kind of like what the East India Trading Company did, or the West Indies Trading Company did. Right? Like the crown didn't really have as much power over what was going on as a lot of people really think they did. It was
No, they
mostly
subcontracted.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's fucking expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they subcontracted, and then they got a cut of whatever the East India Trading Company happened to secure for them.
Yeah. And then eventually said company would usually have so much material power that they just became part of the government apparatus.
Yeah,
As in
like Hong Kong and
Yeah.
Macau. Well, Macau was a bunch of fucking monks from Portugal, but
Yeah. Well, I'm not even referring to them like basically running their colonies as mini countries. I mean, kind of like what we're seeing with Congress now, where certain companies have so much financial power and are just so big. There are legal considerations attached to them that they've basically become incorporated within the United States government. Well, whether it's an arms contract or we're like, yeah, that makes sense, or if it's something like Apple or Amazon or whatever, where they just like there's just the relationship of, honestly speaking, I wouldn't be surprised if if in the next like 20 years they just become parts of the government and everything but name.
So you're thinking more Johnny Mnemonic Shadowrun kind of
Sure.
corporate.
I've never actually.
Let's look at flock cameras currently, though. I mean, this not what's kind of taking place right now?
Certainly is, yeah. Or like Wayland Yutani, even.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, Wayland Yutani. That's actually a really fun. I was gonna reference the Insignia book series by Kincaid, but no, Wayland Yutani is actually a much better example because people have heard of it.
That's why I picked it. It's because everybody understands the reference.
Yep, I still recommend reading the Insignia books. They're very good.
Yeah. I don't know. It could go that way. It may not. Like take Firefly, for example, right? Firefly takes place in the far future, and the culture that exists and is most prevalent throughout the quote unquote verse, which, by the way, canonically is a single solar system with a couple of big ass planets and hundreds of fucking moons.
It's like 5 gas giants out on the edge, and then there's like 3 core planets that are like in the Goldilocks zone.
And then everything else is
There's
terraformed
hundreds
moons
of
everywhere
moons.
else.
And every moon that's not inhabited is currently being terraformed to be inhabited.
Basically, yeah. So, but the culture that that is prevalent throughout, right? Obviously, it feels like a space western. Is a combination of the 2 surviving superpowers who had to work together to get off of Earth. That was, which would have at the time been the CCP run China and the United States of America, which is why everybody speaks both Chinese and American English. Along with certain cultural things like the chopsticks thing and, you know, some of the fashion and all of that. But there were like subtle hints of a very blended version of the 2 of those things throughout. And that wasn't a corporate thing. That was a government thing, straight up.
I need a beverage. I'll be right back.
So I don't know. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what international cooperation looks like on American soil. I don't know what any of this, like the obvious thing to do would be for NASA and the executive branch of the government to contract out specifically to groups like SpaceX, right? Who are already not only have their own infrastructure already on American soil, but are making innovations that NASA hasn't even touched in the last 60 years.
Yeah.
Right. That would be the obvious thing to do, would be to, once again, ally with Elon Musk's company.
Yeah. Especially since the private sector will always have more incentive to innovate and discover and develop than the government ever could. And that's not like going, oh, government, but it's a different beast. Like, it's not designed for that role, so it's not going to achieve that role. Let the company, which is incentivized to do the thing, and just keep a leash on it so it doesn't do too crazy shit, like microwave dogs.
Yeah. Wait, what was this fucking comment? I know we're getting closer to the Jetsons, but when arms start coming out of the wall and giving me a bath on you know what? I hear you. That's a little too far. I don't need my my bathtub scrubbing me. It just needs to be there while I scrub myself. I get you.
Yeah. Well, the arms coming out the walls bathtub thing kind of cycles back to what started the stream off with the shutting off of menopause. Like, just absolving yourself of as much responsibility and expectation as possible will not end well. It won't go well. We will, if we get freaking unlimited power and replicators. We're not living in Star Trek. We're living in an idiocracy, and it's going to go very badly.
I mean, as long as butt fuckers are still around.
I guess.
That joke's hilarious if you guys have seen Idiocracy, by the way. I'm just saying.
Very good joke.
Right.
So the final thing that we have for you guys tonight is just kind of a tie-in to a lot of the themes and stuff that we've talked about on this show over the last several years, actually. From 1973. And we're going to be having to pause this fairly frequently. It's not the whole episode, but it is a fairly lengthy clip of one. Because we don't want the copyright gods smashing our heads in, frankly. However, it is relevant to pretty much everything, I think. Oh, it's from Super French, by the way.
Right.
Just relax, everybody.
Welcome. I'm Professor Goodfellow. It's an honor to meet you all. Please accept my apologies for the little pranks I played today.
Pranks is hardly the word, Professor. You've got the whole country in a turmoil.
The government is very...
The government is what?
The government is bad.
Bad, okay? Bad.
It's hardly the word, Professor. You've got the whole country in a turmoil.
The government is very concerned about your little pranks. I had to do those things to prove to the government that the geek works. The geek?
What is that? By the way, that's Casey Kasem. That's the same guy who voiced Shaggy on Scooby-Doo for so many years.
Well, I don't know, Scoob.
Very well.
Right.
Biggest computer. I want to donate it to the government as a gift for the benefit of all people. What does this computer do? By remote control, the geek can perform every job that is done by men and women. My purpose is to free mankind of all physical labor, brain work, and responsibility. You mean no one would have to do
1973. This guy was in the cartoon creating a machine that would replace the need for human beings in the workforce. Period.
I mean,
Yep.
not that surprising since Dune touched on that general idea with the Butlerian Jihad, and that was released in what not the 50s.
It's not about what came first. Of course that came first, but not everybody read that shit. This was on national television.
Oh, yeah, fair. Yep, I guess this was more readily accessible. You're right.
Yeah, even today, most people haven't read fucking Dune. They've just seen the Villeneuve, visual
and
candy.
And they're just like, why don't they use computers? This makes no sense. Why aren't they using computers? Because the movies don't really touch on the Butlerian Jihad at all. It's not mentioned at all.
Also, keep in mind that this episode aired, I think, 1 year before the official formation of the WEF. I'm not saying they're connected. I wonder what happened. That's the order of events.
I wonder what happened to the writers of this episode.
They're probably fine. Or just like old now, if they're still alive.
I don't believe you, Sam. I believe you're compromised.
You can believe whatever you want.
They stole my fucking nuggets. I'm gonna kill them all in Minecraft.
work? That's impossible. No, that's why I brought you here. To show you it is not impossible. Please, follow me. Well, its full name is Goodfellows Effort Eliminating Computer. GEEC, geek.
Yeah, it's called
That's
Geek.
huge.
Oh, well, this was 73, man. Computers were still the size of city blocks.
Sure, but that's still uber huge. Look at the size of the screens, man.
Yeah, right? That's the size of that literally is a city block in Manhattan, dog.
Yeah.
I'm aware of this. I wasn't exaggerating. Computers at that time were massive.
There it is, gentlemen.
We didn't get to the compact shit until like 86, and even then it was just a couple of small like indie groups of programmers who were trying to build something that you could carry around that was portable. And even then, it still weighed a fucking ton and was the size of your torso.
And now I have one that is infinitely more powerful than the one they're showing off in this cartoon in the palm of my hand.
Yes.
In a watch.
I don't have one of those.
Holy brain busters. It's gigantic.
Very impressive, Professor.
I'll show you how it works. This control bank operates all types of transportation. Everything from bicycle to spacecraft. Communications. Telephones, television, everything. The geek is programmed to handle all business matters. Buying, selling, advertising, filing, typing, bookkeeping.
Fantastic.
These controls can run every factory
I love how
machine
Batman's all for it. It's like fantastic.
Right.
Well, I mean, think about it. This is Bruce
Wayne
being
fire
like,
that bitch Marge who calls herself a secretary.
unironically, he's like, wow, I can slash Wayne Enterprises overhead instantly. Right. This is amazing.
Guilty.
Factory workers.
Wow.
Farming, eh? I guess the geek will run the tractors and let the farmers take a rest.
They deserve it. Everybody deserves a rest. That's why I built the geek. Since the beginning of time, men and women have had to work hard every day to survive. But now, with the geek in control, nobody will have to work. Not even housewives.
So they do get around to bringing up why this is a bad idea by the end of the clip. But essentially, that is the argument that fans of communism push all the time. It's like, God, life has always been a struggle. It doesn't have to be, though, if we do things our way. And that's how they sell it to you.
If we, the lower class aristocracy, kill the higher class aristocracy and then enslave the middle class and the plebeians and call them proles, then we can live in utopia, says the communist.
Right, but I mean, in order to sell it to the average person who doesn't understand how all that shit actually has to play out, they're just like, you know what? You work hard. I know you're suffering. You don't have to if you do things our way.
Oh.
That's the
Welcome in,
selling.
Jeremiah.
Yeah.
What will be
Also, did the Matrix use humans for probability calculations? As I understood it, the Matrix used them for electrical generation, but I wouldn't doubt that they probably used as much of the human potential as possible while they had them plugged in.
So the original script was that they were going to use them for computation purposes, but then they gave it to like a focus group, and the focus group, because this was like back when computers were really starting to hit public consciousness, couldn't quite understand what that meant. So they rewrote it to be batteries because everyone knew what batteries were. And then like 5 years later, everyone understood what the concept of computation engine was, and were like, this is retarded. It should have just been a computation engine.
Then they must have had a retarded focus group because that concept is not that out of the norm for your average
telling
person in
you-
1997, and Matrix came out in 99.
I'm telling you what I heard. They had the freaking focus group watch the scenes, and they did not understand what was going on. They changed it to humans being batteries, and people understood it perfectly.
Focus
Granted,
groups tend to be made up of idiots, though, for that reason.
yes, that's why
Right?
you use
they're not a quality sampling of the populace at large by any stretch.
They're Napoleon's corporal.
Yeah, I don't know what that fucking means.
Napoleon, when he was briefing his like generals and shit, he'd bring a random corporal in, and if the corporal couldn't understand someone's plan, he'd have them revise it because like the plan needed to be simple enough that even a corporal could understand. Was the general?
I would do that differently. I would bring in a corporal, and if the corporal didn't understand it, have him whipped until he did.
Yeah, well, the Grand Army was a citizens military as opposed to the feudal ones that came before it.
Sure.
So you know they had rights, unfortunately.
He's emperor.
There's your problem.
He didn't have to have rights.
Well, no, he actually treated his soldiers very fucking well, better than the U.S. Navy treats its sailors. But that's
I'm
more
not
of a
saying he
thing.
didn't. I'm saying that I wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, again, if they're sailors, no one really cares because sailors just get abused. And then if they're army, abuse them because they're worth nothing. But if they're Marines, don't bully them because they're good boys. They don't deserve that.
No. I'm an egalitarian when it comes to corporal punishment.
BTK, I don't rate that.
Corporal punishment. Anyway,
BTK, I don't rate that. No, I'm not that badass.
People do all day. Oh, why, just sit home in their geek-built houses, eat geek-prepared meals, and spend the whole day watching movies and sporting events on their geek television sets.
But that means actors and athletes will still have to do their jobs.
No. The actors and athletes won't be real people. They'll be electronic images.
1973, folks. 1973.
Someone got shot over this episode. Someone was walking fucking home, heard like a weird noise in an alleyway, walked in, blinked, and found themselves standing in front of St. Peter. Like, someone got fucking shot over this in Minecraft.
Allegedly.
In Arizona.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, he's talking about computer generated everything. Hive mind. Machine mind. Have y'all ever seen the movie The Moving Sidewalks in Paris, I believe 1800s? Yeah. There was a World's Fair there that showed them off at one point, wasn't there? I believe.
Now, I do love whenever you go back and like look in history, whether it's the steam engines that the Greeks had, or like the flamethrowers that the Mongols had, or the automatons that the Europeans had back in like the 1400s, where you're just like, we've had advanced technology that rivals what we have today. It's just we had different societal standards, so we didn't mass produce it.
I mean, Greek fire is still better than napalm.
Well, I wasn't referencing Greek fire. I was referencing whatever the Mongols were using against the Koreans.
Yeah, I know. I was just talking about the advanced tech from back in the day. Greek fire beats what we have now as
Very well.
napalm, because Greek
Roman
fire burns underwater.
It doesn't beat magnesium though.
And Roman concrete as well is like we still can't match that.
We couldn't match the Aztec version of that either. They had some very, very strong stuff too that we can't replicate.
Well, that's because like the human sacrifice is like Smoking Mirror was like, hey, tight, cool, here, have this shit.
I mean, if you ask the Mormons, it's because the Aztecs were descended from ancient Jews who escaped the Romans.
I think the fucking Mexica would be very offended by that assertion.
Yeah, they were too.
Wait, no,
they are.
Well, no, because that'd mean they get space lasers.
No, they think that whole thing's fucking stupid, despite sharing some physical similarities to Sephardic peoples.
Weird.
Anywho, 1973, they were already calling out this shit.
Play or a variety show or an athletic event.
Hey, imagine Joe Namath can sit at home and watch himself playing a football game that he never really played.
Oh, yes, exactly. No one will have to wear himself out doing a job of work. The geek will do it all.
Well, how about us school kids, Professor?
Aha, let me show you. Every child will receive school lessons at home on his Geek TV. There'll be no need for schools or teachers.
No schools?
No teachers?
No, because we're going to program all of you. We're going to program all of you at a young age. Probably from within the incubation chamber, because you're certainly not going to develop in a womb.
I'm realizing that all that is just homeschooling. And homeschooling as an alternative to public education actually doesn't fucking work if you use a pre-made homeschooling system.
No, I would disagree, because homeschooling is the only thing that anybody had before the fucking Department of Education.
Well, I mean the modern day ones, where like it's like, oh, I homeschool. Oh, how do you do that? Oh, I just use this teacher.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a fair point,
what I'm
because
referring to.
who prepares that curriculum?
The
Who prepares that curriculum though is the same people doing the Department of Education shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm referencing.
Less important than the interaction between the parent/teacher and the child, where you can explain that I have to teach this to you, but this is absolute bullshit, and move on with your life.
I did that with my kid.
I did too.
I mean, I was just helping her with homework. She was in the public school system, but she was just like, okay, so we got to go over this and this and this. And I was like, okay, so we're going to go over this and you're going to learn the correct answers to put on the test. However, I'm telling you that these answers and these questions are bullshit. That's not how any of this shit went down. So just keep that in mind.
The only reason you'll use any of this information looking at math is if you're a nerd in like D&D. That's the only time you'll ever use the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, my oldest is.
I feel targeted.
Unless you decide to go into a career as a scout sniper, at which point the Pythagorean theorem might kind of. Oh wait, what do you mean they were discommissioned? Never mind, you'll only use it for D&D.
I mean, there are other positions that will dabble in things like that, but they're not going.
I mean,
yeah,
common.
Yeah, SEAL snipers. Yeah, those exist as well.
Engineers, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fake. Those don't exist.
No, the math they use is fake. I've seen it. It can't possibly be real. But they're very real people making it up on the whiteboards.
They think it's real.
Mm-hmm. I call it fake math because there's no fucking way, man.
And I mean, is perception itself not reality? If you starve yourself of appropriate nutrients and water, if the world starts becoming wavy and hazy...
All right, bud. I've got like 3 minutes left, so...
Very well.
Let's work this out.
Very well.
I was joking. Go ahead. Whatever you...
No, I was referencing something I posted in the chat the other day. I was like, hey, Sam, you should really try to get this guy on the show, because he was having it was a guy hiking that had like this episode when he realized, oh, I've not been drinking water because everything around me is going all miragey. maybe the world isn't actually how it appears to us. It's just our perception of the world has a chaotic moment and then realizes it doesn't really matter and then moves on with his day.
I agree that is something that you could see Sasquatch me talking about, but it's also the exact kind of thing that somebody who is just severely dehydrated would say.
Yeah. 100%. Well, no, but he posted. It's the same guy whose video I posted where he was like talking about how modern pagans don't understand paganism. Like that same video I posted where he was like, "Yeah, no, these gods don't care about you beyond using you for their amusement or menial labor they just don't want to do themselves."
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Right. Again, good dude. I think you'd like to talk to. I'll shut up.
Doing the thing. We're doing the thing.
Groovy!
It's a miraculous machine, Professor. I'm greatly impressed.
You know something, though? Even if I complain sometimes about homework, I really enjoy school. I'm gonna miss going to classes, being with my school friends.
Gentlemen, I think Wendy has just made a very important observation. She has shown us the basic fault of the geek. I know you mean well, Professor, but your computer can be a bad thing for people.
That's right. Everybody, even young kids, should have responsibilities.
I agree.
By the way,
It's
the
good for
professor and the
people to
Robin
learn.
are the same voice actor.
Wild.
Yeah. Just putting that out there. He, he's an old guy who wants to take away responsibility from everybody, and a young boy who follows a grown-ass man around in tights.
Right.
Hey, he's never been left alone in a birdcage before.
No, that happened a few times actually. Like, there's a reason Two-Face calls him the boy hostage.
Batman and Robin's relationship is purely platonic and mentor related. Just like if they were samurai.
Boy, am I glad that got cut off by the system.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we were going to have to suffer through that entire thing, but here, let this happen.
To use their brains. If they don't, they'll have no purpose in life.
But Mr. Huggins, the government must accept my gift. It'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to mankind.
Professor, I'm afraid I agree with the Super Friends. The government will not involve itself in Project Geek.
Liar. Right then, I'll offer free geek service to the public. Anyone who wants to subscribe can have himself a permanent coffee break. And you can't stop me.
No, we can't. It's not against the law.
But let me remind you, Professor, the geek is just a machine. It has no heart, no soul. If there should be a mechanical breakdown, it could go haywire and do a great deal of damage.
That's true. The geek has no natural instincts. It wouldn't know that it's causing danger, doing harm.
Nothing can go wrong with the geek. Good day, gentlemen.
Yeah. So,
and that's the way it is.
I'm glad that
today.
I'm glad that they got around to pointing out like most of the bad stuff. The one thing they didn't really talk about too much was the social aspect of it. That human beings are social animals and require some measure of social interaction. And if you take away any need for that by providing everything for them with some kind of artificial, being like geek here, right? People don't have. You're going to end up with a lot of people going fucking stir crazy. Cabin fever will become a fucking epidemic.
I cannot point to two generations of human beings raised on screens that point to that being true. I cannot think of Gen Alpha or Gen Bravo doing that, Sam.
I'm just saying. Hundreds of thousands of years, even if you want to go back that far, of social interaction within their own species, right? Like, you can't just turn that shit off.
Sam, I think you're reaching. I can't think of any videos or personal experiences I've had with tablet-raised children resulting in any sort of clear signs of negative development of social skills. I think you're just reaching. Right? I think you're just a boomer.
Right.
But anyway,
so what you're saying is don't sweat it. Let the globalists win, and it'll be fine. Hoorah.
Well, because if the globalists win, they will inevitably fail and bring about the rise of the nationalists.
All right, that's been this show tonight, folks. Like, ladies and gentlemen, this is no, you don't get the laugh. That's not funny. Listen, we've managed to make it through an entire show without Shadow taking a walk down memory lane of the earliest 20th century. Sam, do the fucking thing, bro.
Wait, why am I going first? It's my show.
Damn it. Fine, whatever. Here, where's he at? Go up there, talk.
Where the fuck is he?
Talk. God damn it.
I've got nothing.
Fucking tell people
all right,
who you are.
Now that's not my fault.
He knows how to do this shit. Speak, squawk, little birdie.
I told you I've got nothing, as in I've got nothing coming up. My buddy who streams after you, he is he's down with something, so he's not doing it tonight.
Is it the sickness? Is that what he's down
Yes, he is down with the sickness with me.
He's yeah, no, he and his wife are sick. He didn't specify what it was. He was just like, yeah, we're both in bed right now. Like, I've got a headache. Like, it's just all messed up, so I'm probably not doing it tonight.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Snotty nose, kind of coughing a little bit. I got a headache, that kind of shit. My skin hurts.
Do you think they're getting down with the sickness?
No, because
so. Fever's pussy is awesome.
No, because he usually specifies that if that's happening, and it sounded like it's not. So poor guy.
Fair enough. It is sometimes kind of fun. All right. Anyway, whatever. We're getting off that track. This is Shadow Hawk. His link is in the description below. He does have content on his channel. He's just not putting a ton of it out lately. Go check him out.
I'm trapped in the tree line too damn often.
Also, check out Devil Made Me Do It's channel, Beelzebub. He does stuff there too. It's also in the description below, along with a handful of other people. Sasquatch, shill your shit.
I will have a show tomorrow with Captain Curmudgeon. No idea what it's going to be about. He doesn't tell me until about an hour before the show, and then we put it all together. So you'll be just as surprised as I am. Congratulations. I really don't have anything else planned, but I'm going to try to get a guy in for an interview next Thursday. Beyond that, you can catch me anytime before about 2 a.m. Eastern when Powdered Dusty streams, if I can raise myself to the challenge of dealing with that bullshit.
Right. That'll be a fun time.
Yeah, fun.
I'll be honest with you, man. I like Sarah, right? But I prefer watching you do Dusty's channel rather than Raging Tomato debates.
Dude, I was clowning on EBT last night, like hard. He came in all drunk as hell. He just had his channel nuked, and he's over here talking all kinds of trash. And I'm like over here backstage counting down how long it's going to take to get him booted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just something unforgivable.
Sometimes they do an interesting topic, but sometimes it's clear people are just there to fucking argue with each other over nothing. And I'm like, all right, okay, I'm going to go somewhere else now. And like I said, I like Sarah. I do. I'm not a debate bro. So,
yeah.
Anywho, I guess that leads it to me. I haven't seen any indication yet that Amira's going live, but if she does, I'll be over there probably tonight. If not, then it'll be another time. Next up, I am planning to get back to game streams next week, probably Tuesday. I'm still kind of up in the air about whether we continue Empire of the Ants or I jump into what I meant to start last Tuesday, which is Sinking City 2. So you can be as surprised as I will be when I finally make a decision on that. But we should be starting those up again on Tuesday. We also have some Abyssal Musings coming up Friday. Should be back on the pub after that over on Devil's Channel, Beelzebub. And then we'll be back here for more Screaming into the Void next Saturday. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks to Sasquatch for being as understanding as he is, given that I'm deliberately picking topics to bother him now.
He deserves it.
I mean, it's not just you, right? Everybody else.
No one else matters.
And Devil for being here earlier. Shadow for being here. Appreciate you guys. Chat, you guys are awesome. We'll see you all next time. Have a great night, everybody. And remember, it could always be worse. That's it. No caveat, just worse. Bye.